go ahead and call to order the October Poquoson City School Board meeting. And Jesse, would you please introduce our students who will be opening for us tonight, please?
Trenton Reagan is an 8th grader at Poquoson Middle School. Trenton is president of the SCA and a member of the SCARE Club, Students Concerned About Restoring the Environment. He is involved in biking, running, and winter track and loves wood carving, wood burning, drawing, painting, and drumming. He hopes to be a drum major in high school, and to earn an advanced degree, he plays the drums in his church band.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ann Northrup is an 8th grader at Poquoson Middle School. Ann is president of the National Junior Honor Society and is a member of the SCA. She is involved in cross-country running, travel, and soccer. She loves reading, listening to music, and ice skating. She hopes to be on the All-A honor roll in high school and to earn a 4.0 GPA. She also has moved 7 times in the past 13 years.
I can't change the past, and I can't control the future. All I can do is make the most of the present. And, if you think about it, that's all any of us ever really has.
All right. Thank you very much, Trenton and Ann. And next we'll go into student presentations. And students, shortly we will have an intermission for all the board members to come out and speak with you. So if you can stick with us for about maybe 10 more minutes or so, that would be great. And we'll take that intermission. After that, you guys are free to go unless you want to stick around for the presentations and reports and that kind of thing. The Foreign Language Department at Poquoson Middle School will present Introduction to World Cultures, where the students will describe their introduction to the Portuguese and Italian vocabularies. The Spanish 1 Part 2 students will then read poems to review concepts in adjectives and adjective agreement. Spanish 2 students will then act out kinesthetic learning of a diamond poem, where students describe themselves. Finally, the Spanish 2 students will display differentiation in reading comprehension activities. Students include Rachel Erb, Josh Heldreth, Andrew McCracken, Preston Erb, Molly Munns, and they're all 8th graders, Christy O'Day, Kaylee Cruz, Chelsea Griffin, and Michelle Mattel. They're 7th graders, Zachary Norton, Trevor Ellis, Allison Palmer, Morgan Fairbanks, Caden Ferguson, Mackenzie Price, and Jessica Buckner, 6th graders. The teachers assisting are Dr. Michelle Martin, Spanish 3, Mrs. Kathy Holland, Introduction to World Cultures, and Ms. Soleil Correa, Spanish 2, and Ms. Kimberly Snyder, Spanish 2. Take it away.
Good evening. As Mr. Carter just more or less told you what we're going to do, I just wanted to add that my colleagues, our students, and I are so happy to be here and have this opportunity to share what we do with you this evening. As he stated, Ms. Holland's World Cultures class are going to tell you a little bit about what they've been up to so far this year, and you may even hear another foreign language or 2 spoken. We've chosen to have 2 different groups present Diamante poems, both Ms. Snyder's Spanish 1 Part 2s and Ms. Correa's Spanish 2s. And we've made this decision to show our audience and the school board how the same activity can be done at different levels with differing degrees of sophistication. Finally, as was said before, the Spanish 3s are going to show you an example of differentiation in action. All students read the same text, but they had a bunch of different opportunities or options as to what they did with that text based on their learning styles and interests. So we begin.
Hi, I'm Morgan, and we would like to tell you a little about our Introduction to World Cultures class. We will be studying an introduction to 16 languages. We started our study with a history of communication, including signs and codes. We also learned that there is a lot of Greek and Latin influence in the English language. Our first two languages were Portuguese and Italian. For each language, we learn about geography, history, culture, and current events, as well as a lot of vocabulary. Hi, I'm Jessica. Here is some Portuguese vocabulary.
Bim,
Wait. Olá, como você está?
I'm Zach. Bim de nada.
Obrigado.
A quinta e rosa.
A aluna é engraçada.
Do tres.
A professora é velha.
Adios.
Hi, my name is Allison. Here is some Italian vocabulary. Buongiorno, come stai?
Hi, I'm Trevor. Benissimo.
Grazie.
Prego.
La pena e papora. Uno, due, tre.
Los estudiantes es divertente. Li insegnante es vicio. Arrivederci.
Hello, my name is Michael Mattel. My poem describes me and tells the reader about what I like all the time, what I like sometimes, and what I never like. Yo soy Michael Mattel. Yo soy cómico y sociable. A veces soy atrevido y trabajador. No soy ni rasgado ni estudios. Yo soy yo.
Hi, I'm Chelsea. Writing this poem taught us how to use adjectives correctly to describe ourselves. Yo soy Chelsea. Yo soy sociable y deportista. A veces soy impaciente y atrevida. No soy ni perezosa ni reservada. Yo soy yo.
Hola, me llamo Kaylee. No soy paciente ni ordenada. Soy baja, simpática y deportista. Todos los días yo corro, leo, canto y practicar deportes. En el verano, mis amigos y yo pasar tiempo, nadamos y juguemos. Nunca montar en el monopatín ni bailo. Así soy yo.
Me llamo Rachel. No soy ni reservada ni estudioso. Soy deportista, sociable y impaciente. Todos los días yo camino, leo y practicar deportes. En el verano nosotros nadamos, hablamos y tomamos sol. Nunca juego videojuegos y canto. Así yo soy yo.
Hi, my name's Andrew McCracken. In our Spanish 3 class, we all read a story in Spanish and had 5 things we could do for it. We could rewrite the story in the present tense, write the opposite of the story, make a poem, rap, or song for the story, make a cartoon for the story, or change the subject of the story. I chose to write the opposite of the story. It was challenging because you didn't just have to write the opposite of the verb or adjective, but you had to change whole sentences or even take out whole sentences sometimes. I thought writing the opposite of the story was one of the more challenging choices. I liked this choice because it forced me to learn new vocab words and their opposites and the opposites of words that I had already learned.
Hi, I'm Holly. I chose the present tense because I enjoy writing. It also seemed like the easiest to me. Changing the story of the past tense to the present tense was not as easy as I thought it would be. I couldn't just change the verbs to the present tense because sometimes the rest of the sentence wouldn't make sense. I'm still working on this project, and it is challenging, but I'm glad I picked it.
Hi, I'm Josh Sheldrith, and out of the 5 choices for this project, I chose to draw a comic for it. I thought I would get the best grade drawing the comic because out of all the choices, I thought it would be the easiest for me. I enjoyed having the choices because I could choose what I would do best at. I'm not a very big art fan, even though I chose this. But it was still a very fun project for me. It's challenging, and I enjoyed it very much. It was hard for me because I'm not that artistic, and I had trouble figuring out how to draw each segment of the story. Overall, I did enjoy this project very much, and I'm glad we got to choose what we got to do. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. And teachers, thank you as well for your continued guidance and instruction with these kids. You can obviously tell they're learning a lot, and we appreciate that very much. Next, do we have any additions or modifications to the agenda?
We do not.
Okay, and we will move into student recognitions.
This evening, we have the pleasure of recognizing our National Merit Commended students, and we have several of them here this evening. So what I'd like to do is bring them up each individually and share a little bit of information about them. So I'd like to start with Vivian Chan. Vivian attends the Governor School for Science and Technology. She is a member of the National Honor Society. She has volunteered for more than 500 hours in the Key Club, the local library, hospitals, and playing piano for the elderly. Vivian also enjoys playing tennis. She plans to major in medicine at VCU, UVA, Princeton, or Hong Kong University. Please join me in congratulating Vivian for being a National Merit Commended student. Margaret Northrop. Margaret is a member of Mu Alpha Theta and historian for the National Honor Society. She is captain of a cross-country team and runs indoor and outdoor track. Meg is a Virginia Aerospace Science and Technology scholar and currently an intern at the National Institute of Aerospace Morpheus Lab. She hopes to study physics in college. Please join me in congratulating Meg on being a National Merit Commended student. Benjamin Wiggins. Benjamin is in the National Honor Society. He attends the Governor School for Science and Technology. He likes to draw characters and scenery and write fantasy stories. Ben plans to major in video game design at either Champlain University in Vermont, George Mason University, or North Carolina State. Please join me in congratulating Benjamin Wiggins. Aiden Selmer. Aiden is a section leader and drum captain at the Poquoson High School Islander Band. He's also captain of the Academic Challenge team, which went to state-level competition last year. Aiden attended Governor's German Academy at Washington and Lee University over the summer. He plays guitar and is an amateur songwriter. Aiden plans to attend the College of William & Mary to study English. Please join me in congratulating Aiden. Margaret McDevitt. Margaret plays on the varsity volleyball team, runs track, and competes on the varsity lacrosse team. She is a senior class president and a member of the National Honor Society and the Spanish Club. Maggie would like to attend the Air Force Academy or the University of Virginia to major in finance or biochemistry. Please join me in congratulating Maggie. And again, congratulations to all 5 of you on this very important national recognition. We appreciate all of your hard work to get yourselves there, so thank you.
And at this time, we will take a short intermission.
There's no public speakers. I don't think so.
Okay, next up, we'll move into our presentations and reports, and we will start with Mr. Bowen and a financial update.
Good evening, Chairman Carter, school board members, and Dr. Parrish. For the finance update this evening, I wanted to update the board on legislation that was passed by the 2012 General Assembly that now requires school divisions to report on instructional spending. Commonly referred to as the 65% rule, this legislation as proposed would have required school divisions across Virginia to spend 65% of their operating budget on instructional expenditures. In addition, the Department of Education, Virginia Department of Education, was charged with determining what definition of instructional expenditures would be used. Now, I will tell you, prior to this legislation, I thought there was only one definition of instructional expenditures, and that's what the state had been using in that model for a number of years. However, what we found out is that there are two definitions. There's the state definition and the federal definition. And here I have the more common categories of instructional spending for the state. And then below that, I have those exclusions from the federal definition. If you note that guidance counselors and principals, assistant principals, and media services were not included in the federal definition. Now, what happened at the end, what we saw was very restrictive legislation that was proposed, but what we ended up with was something less, was watered down. We saw that Virginia Department of Education did use the state's definition for instructional spending. There was no additional reporting that was required for school divisions. In other words, the percentage for instructional spending would be taken directly from the annual school report. Now, the annual school report is that comprehensive financial report that my staff and I prepare and submit to the Department of Education every September. In addition, the instructional spending would now be required to be reported on the division-level school report card. And for those who are not familiar with that, particularly at home, that report card can be accessed at the Virginia Department of Education's website and contains a significant amount of data on individual school divisions, such as student achievement, attendance, safety, accountability ratings, and a host of other topics. And then this is just one more item that's being added to that report card. And then what didn't happen, and this is what was really watered down, is that there are no current requirements from this legislation for additional audits. So we're very pleased with that. No corrective actions if school divisions didn't meet a certain level of a percentage. And then the final legislation did not include an actual percentage for school divisions to meet. So again, we were very, very happy about that, but keep in mind there is still momentum in the legislature to see that some of these more restrictive measures are passed. So we'll keep an eye on that as we move into the 2013 General Assembly session. So how did we do here in Poquoson and statewide? Well, statewide, the Department of Education released the most recent data, final data, and that was for 2011, or the 2010-2011 school year. And statewide, that instructional percentage ranged from a low of 52.5% to 76.3% as a high. For 2011, Poquoson reported instructional spending at 67.1%. So we were above what they were setting as the benchmark, but they didn't end up passing that. And then our most recent data that we just submitted in September, and it is preliminary until the state certifies those numbers, we were at 67.3%, saw a slight increase. And again, here I caution that these percentages will be subject to change. As we head into FY13 budget cycle, there are some additional cuts that we know that we're going to have to make. We're going to have to address our loss of the one-time funding in the federal jobs bill. We'll also have to address the loss in state revenue, which is tied to our decline in enrollment. And then we don't believe that the General Assembly is done with the Virginia retirement system. So there may be additional measures that we have to take as a result of the VRS. So that is my finance update this evening.
And if I could just add to that, the 65% is just a number that was selected. There's not research behind it. There's nothing that we can cite or that we can find or the state can find. It was a number that was selected for the purpose of legislation. And there's been a lot of talk about the fact that you really can't instruct students unless you get them there on school buses, but school buses don't fall under instruction. So just note, you'll hear more of that discussion if there is additional legislation tied to this. But there is still a lot of talk about why 65% and what about some of those other costs that we incur, that we have to incur to get students into our classroom and to support the learning that goes in the classroom. So, thank you.
Board questions? Do we have any idea what some of those restrictions would entail?
Well, namely the audits and corrective action. The original legislation did require for school divisions to prepare a corrective action plan if you did not meet the 65%. So, and that would entail a lot of things. There are some things that the Department of Education has recognized that makes a difference between school divisions, why one school division might meet the 65% and why another school division might not meet the 65%. And for small school divisions, they tell us, and this comes directly from the report card from the VDOE's website, but smaller school divisions have similar administrative and support costs as larger school divisions, and yet we have a smaller base in which to spread those costs out. From a transportation perspective, some of the larger counties that maybe not as populous are going to have larger or higher transportation costs because just the geographic region. So there are some things that DOE has recognized, and hopefully if this 65% continues to move forward, they will take these things into account.
Okay. Board, anything else? Thank you, sir. Thank you. Next up, we'll have the operations update from Mr. Pappas.
Good evening, Chairman Carter, School Board, Dr. Parrish. In the area of transportation, tonight your packets contain a proclamation that talk about the fact that October 22nd through the 26th has been designated as School Bus Safety and School Bus Transportation Employee Appreciation Day. While that is the #1 task for all of our drivers and the aides, as well as the dispatcher and some other people in our school system, they're not alone in that endeavor. Every morning, you can see principals, assistant principals, teachers, paras assisting with the offloading and then subsequently the afternoon loading of students, as well as the city garage. It takes an inordinate amount of people to keep all of our students safe, and we appreciate all of them. In the area of safety, Poquoson City Schools will participate on a voluntary basis this year, actually in 2 days, in an earthquake drill, which is the first of its kind for Virginia. It's our intention to include all schools in subsequent years after we distill what we've learned from our first endeavor. In the area of food service, yesterday was the last day for the government-mandated automatic extension of free and reduced applications from the previous year. So today was the first day that students who may be eligible but whose parents didn't apply would have found that out. So even though that day has come, students and families are encouraged to apply at any time. Okay, it's just part of a regulation that we have to follow. And then lastly, in food service, we've been trying to get students to avail themselves of some of the new menu items that we've been introducing as a function of the Healthy Hunger Free Kids Act. We've been offering samples of both main entrees and side dishes at all 4 schools. And these items range from orange beef broccoli with rice, perennial student favorite, to sunflower butter and jelly wraps, Greek pizza, baked General Tso's chicken, black and pinto beans, the latter of which are requirements now that we have to offer legumes a minimum of twice a week. And we'll continue to do so. That's my report.
Anybody want to comment on that?
I want to say now for the rest of the story.
I want to know if he's personally taste tested all the entrees.
Not all of them, but I have gone and I have eaten of the food that is different than we might normally have served in the past, and it's quite delicious, but it's somewhat foreign, it appears, to children today.
It's not chicken nuggets, that's what he's saying. It's not chicken nuggets or nachos.
Well, I know for a fact that those legumes of the Navy sort are quite good with a great big old ham hock thrown in there with it.
Ham hock's illegal.
That's not. Okay, anybody else? Thank you, sir. Next up is instructional update, and that's with Amy Colley. Ms. Colley?
Good evening, Chairman Carter, members of the board, Dr. Parrish. We're back with accountability again this month. We've talked about it the last couple of months, waiting for some of the state data to come out, and I'm happy to let you know that this month we do know that Poquoson City Public Schools are fully accredited by the state and have also met all of the federal annual measurable objectives. And so tonight, we're going to look a little deeper into that federal accountability. So that you can have an appreciation for the scope of this new federal accountability system, we've provided some information here by the numbers. So when we talk about our schools meeting all of the AMOs, this is what we mean. Poquoson High School met 41 annual measurable objectives. Poquoson Middle School met 36 AMOs. Poquoson Elementary School met 36 AMOs. And you'll remember when we spoke before that the high school has more because that includes a graduation index. But we thought it was important to share with you just the number of data points we're counting as we look at measuring our schools and how they're progressing. But what else does this mean for us? Well, it means that Poquoson Elementary School is no longer in Title I school improvement, and that's a testament to the hard work and efforts of teachers, staff, students, and the community all working together and supporting our elementary school. As we move through and get used to using this new system, it's important to know that the AMO rates will rise each year. The whole idea is to close those gaps. And it's also important to note that we mentioned before that we'll have a new reading test in the spring. And so we should anticipate that those rates will be impacted by those new tests. And we have other data to report on. For example, we have AP data for you tonight. And you'll note that we've had a steady rise in the number of courses and AP tests offered in Poquoson. Students back in 2010 were taking tests in 18 subject areas. In 2012, they took tests in 20 subject areas. We're also taking more tests. In 2011, we took 321 tests, our students did, and in 2012, 342 tests were taken by our students. So we have lots of students taking advantage of this opportunity. And along with the increased number, we've also had continued achievement that's far above state and international percentages, with almost 84% of our students scoring a 3 or better on at least one of the AP tests. And last tonight, we'll look at the performance of our students who graduated last year on the SAT test. And it's important to note that our college-bound seniors continue to score above both state and national averages. And so you'll remember this last slide from last month. As we move forward, I just wanted to remind you of the many ways we are ensuring that our students continue to make these important gains. And that's through continued revisions and looking at our curriculum and how we're assessing students, providing extra resources where they're needed, and increasing our use of instructional technology and providing that professional development for our staff. We have a terrific teaching staff. They're committed to our students, and we appreciate and acknowledge all they're doing to prepare our students for the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Board, anything?
Does our primary school have any measurable objectives that would get loaded up into the elementary school's data?
They're the same. They're all counted together, so everything that is reported for the elementary is also reported at the primary.
Because there's no SOL test given prior to third grade, the primary school rests on the SOL test scores of the elementary school.
Glad to hear that PES is no longer the Title I improvement plan. That's great news.
That is. Anybody else? Very nice. Thank you very much,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Colley. Ms. Sidner, would you like to walk us through the consent agenda, please?
All right, our consent agenda tonight consists of A, approval of financial reports enclosed, B, approval of personnel action enclosed, C, authorization to dispose of surplus property enclosed, and D, authorization to accept and expend funds in accordance with attached request enclosed.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
And Ms. McDowell, could you call for a vote, please?
Mr. Hux?
Aye.
Ms. Wilson? Aye. Ms. Whitaker?
Aye.
Mr. Melton?
Aye.
Mr. Cast?
Aye.
Ms. Sidner?
Aye.
Chairman Carter?
Aye.
The motion passed by a vote of 7-0.
Thank you. Other matters for consideration. Item A, consideration of approval of minutes of the September regular meeting. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
I motion we approve the minutes for the
Second.
September regular meeting.
Second?
Second.
Anything for discussion there? Okay, Ms. McDowell, could you call for a vote, please?
Mr. Hux?
Aye.
Ms. Wilson? Aye. Ms. Whitaker?
Aye.
Mr. Melton?
Aye.
Mr. Cast?
Abstain.
Ms. Sidner?
Aye.
Chairman Carter?
Aye.
The motion passed by a vote of 6 to 1 abstain.
Thank you. And next up, we have 3 proclamations, and we're going to consider those for approval. One is School Psychologist Awareness Week, which is November 12th through the 16th. And school psychologists are specially trained to deliver a continuum of mental health services and academic support that promotes children's resilience, competence, and well-being within the school setting. They facilitate collaboration and help parents and educators identify and reduce risk factors, promote protective factors, create effective, caring schools. And so we really appreciate all they do. The next one would be American Education Week, which is November 11th through 17th. And public schools are the foundation of our democracy, providing our youth with an education and 21st century skills necessary to be productive citizens as well as effective leaders. Our education employees, be they teachers, para-educators, bus drivers, custodians, administrators, maintenance and cafeteria workers, school board office staff, or school board members, they work tirelessly to serve our children and the community with care and professionalism. And last but not least, as Mr. Pappas alluded to earlier, School Bus Safety Week and School Bus Transportation Employees Appreciation Day. School bus transportation is 8 times safer than traveling in a passenger vehicle and is the safest form of ground transportation available. And I didn't know that. I thought that was very interesting. The employees, they should be recognized for their diligence in safely transporting the school children of the Commonwealth of Virginia, and Poquoson City Public Schools bus drivers hold the safe transportation of our students as their highest priority, and for that we are truly grateful. And could I have a motion to approve item B?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any comments, questions? Thank you. Ms. McDowell, could you call for a vote, please?
Mr. Hux?
Aye.
Ms. Wilson?
Aye.
Ms. Whitaker?
Aye.
Mr. Melton?
Aye.
Mr. Cass?
Aye.
Ms. Sidner? Aye. Chairman Carter?
Aye.
Motion passed by a vote of 7-0.
Thank you. Is there any public comment tonight, Ms. McDowell?
No, there's not.
Thank you. And next, we'll move into our communications. Dr. Parrish, would you kick us off, please?
Yes, we're getting closer and closer to that time. I've spent the last couple of days in meetings with Virginia Department of Education officials, legislators, gubernatorial appointees, and had a lot of discussions about legislation that we think we may be seeing moving through the General Assembly in the coming months, and also beginning to get a feel for where we may be with budget as we move into the coming months. So as Mr. Bowen did mention today, we still have concerns about the fact that we do anticipate we'll be making some large budget cuts again moving into this year, but we certainly will wait to see what we hear once the governor puts his budget out in December. I do believe, based on everything that we're hearing, there's going to be a fairly large focus on K-12 education. I think it's an important issue for our governor this year, so I think we're going to see a number of bills moving through the General Assembly, and certainly we will be updating on those as we move forward, but I think it's going to be a busy few months for us in those areas, and some of those bills could have, if they become law, could have some rather large impacts on our school division, as with school divisions across the state. I have to say, I said to the teachers when, after the presentation today, after spending 2 days in all of those discussions, which are not always the happiest of discussions, it was just so nice to come and see the presentation with the students to just, again, remind me why we're doing all that we're doing, because I think it was just a wonderful example of how hard our teachers are working with our students and the accomplishments that they're making, both in terms of the presentation and obviously our students that have been recognized as commended students by the National Merit Organization. And I do want to thank all of our teachers. We did meet the AMOs. And that was certainly an accomplishment for us. The bar is going to continue to rise, and we know we have a lot of hard work ahead of us, especially because we are working with new standards, and we know we have more rigorous tests that we are going to have our students taking this spring, and we're doing all that we can to support them. But I do want to thank all of them and staff that works to support our teachers for all that they do to get us to the success that we've seen tonight that we've reached. But our journey is far from done, so we have lots of work to continue to do, both in this year and then in the coming years.
Thank you very much. Jesse?
Good evening and thank you, Board. The high school report. Homecoming week was successful. The 10th graders won hall decorating and the 11th graders finished in second place. Seniors won the Spirit Stick at the pep rally. The homecoming parade and the dance were well attended, and the students should be commended for their school spirit and behavior. Parent-teacher Conference Day is on November 12th at 8 a.m. to noon. Parent-teacher Conference Night is November 13th from 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock. PSAT testing for all 11th graders is October 17th, which is tomorrow, and ACT testing is on October 27th. The middle school report. October 16th through 19th is Teen Read Week. Every week, clubs meet after school, listen to announcements for meeting times and locations for yearbook, chess club, builders club, game club, SCA, art club, scare, intramurals, battle of the books. Picture retakes will be on Monday, October 29th. 8th graders are planning a field study to Norfolk AMF Lanes and Chrysler Hall to see performances of short stories they have read, and they're going to go to Virginia Air and Space Center in Hampton on Tuesday, November 13th. At the elementary school, the first peaceful bus meeting was on Friday, October 5th. Bus drivers, teachers, and students talked about appropriate behavior on the bus in order for the students to get to and from school safely. PES will kick off their OAS bullying prevention program on Friday, November 5th with an assembly and class meetings led by teachers. SCA leaders have been elected by their peers and everyone is off to a terrific start. At the primary school, they had the awesome experience of having the WHRO Raising Reader van come and visit. Every student got to go into the van, look at the books, and hear a story. The back-to-school nights were held on September 24th and 25th and had a very good turnout. Parents were able to learn about their child's schedule and about the new balanced literacy program. The teachers and students participated in the PTO's annual walkathon that helps to raise money for the school. Each class walked approximately 2 miles and got pledges for the school. About 100 students and parents participated in the PTO's Family Fun Night on October 9th. They played games and made several crafts as families. All kindergartners and students new to the school were screened for hearing. This program was set up by Barbara Riggins, school nurse, in conjunction with the students at Hampton University Ideology Department. Cannot talk tonight. That concludes my report for the 16th of October. Thank you, Board.
Thank you, Jesse. Mr.
Breathe.
You did great.
Thank you.
Mr. Huck, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Colley, thanks so much for providing the statistics that we use to measure our success. And it never ceases to amaze me what our staff is able to do. The proof's in the pudding, so to speak. And when we see numbers like that about how far and above we are above the state and even national averages in some cases, it's quite impressive. And we do appreciate everybody's efforts to go into that. I'd like to recognize and thank the PTO organizations that we have at all 4 of our schools. They are very active. The work that they do is immeasurable to our success. In particular, recently the PTO of Poquoson Middle School had a very successful test drive fundraiser that was sponsored by Pomoco Auto Group of Hampton, who sponsored it. Well, they sponsored the event. The money raised by the PTO goes for educational needs of students and staff. So thank you so much, PTOs. Also, I have the privilege and pleasure of being the school board liaison to the Poquoson Educational Foundation. We are truly thankful for what they do to support the school system. In particular, they held a barbecue fundraiser on homecoming day. They raised a significant sum of money that goes to support their scholarship funds. I heard numerous comments that the outdoor event was very special to commemorate the occasion of homecoming. We're thankful for the nice weather. We also appreciate the Poquoson Museum Board, who generously donated the use of their land for the PEF to use in fundraising. This was a community-supported event from the city managerial staff to several community businesses to the citizens who attended. So thanks so much to everybody's contributions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Ms. Wills.
Well, just 2 things. I was kind of picturing a seesaw with, after hearing from Mrs. Colley tonight about the new reading, and I know the new science coming up this year, knowing that the math is going to be going up. So I'm kind of picturing a seesaw. So that's something I think we need to be hopeful about, because I'm sure we're going to see changes with that for the better. And I want to thank the Foreign Language Department for the differentiated projects that they're having their students work on. I believe that really showed by giving those choices. Those students have some meaningful instruction, and you could just see and sense their excitement. I thought that was quite evident. And so I had my quote for tonight, but after hearing Andrew McCracken, he was the one that chose this story to do the opposite, I believe. So 2 of my quotes are kind of opposite. So I chose a second quote. The first quote is from George Washington Carver, who stated, "Education is the key to unlock the golden door of freedom." Albert Einstein, "The only thing that interferes with my learning is my education." I thought those were pretty opposite. That's for Andrew.
Thank you. Ms. Whitaker.
I do not have anything tonight. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Melton.
I've had a very busy month with all the back-to-school things going on. Was able to attend the primary school back-to-school night, at least one of the evenings. It was very well attended, and I thought, I'm always amazed at the personal artwork that's on the walls and how bright and colorful everything is. It was excellent. Also attended my first Special Education Advisory Committee meeting, and we had a guest speaker on homework. It's very interesting as well. Last 2 weeks ago, I was able to attend the Peninsula Workforce Development Center typical education meeting for the fall, but they're getting ready for the Career Expo in the spring. So that'll be good for our juniors and seniors here at Poquoson. And then last week, I was able to attend a CTE meeting in Richmond. Interesting enough, they would like to push STEM down to the 4th grade level with no funding. And they'd like us business partners to figure out how to do it without the funding. So get ready for that, and we'll see how we get all those initiatives done. So been rather busy, and I do appreciate all the work our teachers and bus drivers and our faculty and staff do for us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Cass?
I'd like to commend the students tonight from the Foreign Language Department. That was a great presentation, and also thank the teachers for the wonderful job that they do there, and also congratulate the National Merit Scholarship winners. It's a very impressive group of folks, but I know we have a lot of impressive kids in our schools, and this was just a great example tonight. And I also want to thank several parents, you know who you are, who actually contacted me to thank the school board for the wonderful transition back to school from summertime. And as always, I told them that it wasn't the school board, it was the wonderful staff and operations folks and teachers that made the transition very smooth. So thank you very much, everyone, for that. And thank you, parents, for the wonderful comments.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Sidner?
Just 2 things. I'd like to thank the board and Dr. Parrish for our last school board meeting. We skipped our work session so that we could attend the Rachel's Challenge parent presentation, and I know several of us were there, and I thought it was an excellent program, and appreciate the high school for allowing that. I think it was well worth it. Also, I am once again the WHRO Educational Advisory Committee representative from the Poquoson School Board. We had our first meeting on September 25th. I sent everybody meeting summary and our impact statement of what services Poquoson uses from WHRO. And so if you have any questions, let me know. I do believe this is the year we will get a visit from the WHRO folks to come and explain and go on about their wonderful services. So look for that later this year.
Thank you. A couple of things. The drum line got first place at the band competition this past weekend, and that was very good on their part, and they were all very excited. And at the high school back-to-school night, I ran into Lisa Barton, who is a 2nd grade teacher at the elementary school, and she told me about something that the volleyball team did over the course of the last couple of weeks. So I asked her to send me an email, and she did, so I would like to read that to you. It says, the varsity and JV volleyball teams volunteered time on 2 Saturday mornings to sell donuts in front of a local store. Rather than using the money for T-shirts or sport equipment, the girls wanted to make a donation to the American Cancer Society to aid in breast cancer research. They raised, over $830. And, they are coached by Tim Haddock, who teaches at Poquoson Elementary School, and Nina Richardson. So she goes on to say, I am so impressed with the teenagers in Poquoson. Not only do they readily join existing groups working to help others, they create opportunities to make our community and our world a better place. And forgive me, my wife just won that battle. So. Which I should be tears of joy, right? Sorry. To the teachers, the staff, the bus drivers, the custodians, the cafeteria workers, from Dr. Parrish all the way down, everybody who makes this machine run on a day-to-day, week-to-week, year-to-year basis. We have some obstacles coming as far as the SOLs go. And like it or not, we are bound by what the state of Virginia says that we need to do. And those obstacles will be met head-on. We as a board are going to work to do everything in our power to provide you with everything you need to help you overcome those obstacles. And please know to everybody out there that these people sitting right up here have all the confidence in the world that not only are you going to meet those obstacles, you are going to cross them with grace, and we're going to see numbers like that continue to pop up on our screen. It's a great place to be a board member, and very proud of the school system, as everyone in here should be as well. And do we have, let's see, any material for board review?
Not this evening.
Thank you very much. And with that, I will adjourn, and I hope everyone has a great evening.